Hi friends, we are going to begin with electric potential. Electric potential is given by V of R is equal to minus integration from the reference point to the point R E bar dot dl bar. This is known as the electric potential. The unit of this potential is volt, written as capital V, and it is a scalar quantity. Therefore, E is equal to minus del V. Now, if you are having 2 points A and B, and the potential difference between the 2 points A and B will be VB minus VA is equal to minus integration A to B E bar dot dl bar. If we are having a system of charges, then the potential due to all those charges will be just the sum of these charges. Now potential due to a discrete charge will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. It is a scalar quantity, so we do not need any R hat term. But due to continuous charges, we will have 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integration lambda dl upon R if you are having line charge, or 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integration sigma dA upon R for surface charge, or 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integration rho d tau upon R for volume charges. The Poisson's equation is given by del squared V is equal to minus rho upon epsilon naught, and the Laplace equation is del squared V is equal to 0. A surface is called as equipotential if the potential over the surface is constant. Then that surface is called as equipotential surface. This is a question where we have to find the form of the one-dimensional potential for an electrostatic field in the region of space which does not contain any charge. That is, we have to find V of x in a space which does not contain any charge. That means now here del squared V, which we saw using the Poisson's equation, is minus rho upon epsilon naught. This is 0, so del squared V is equal to, because there is no charge, so rho is 0, so we will have del squared V equals to 0. This becomes our Laplace equation. Now integrating once, we will have del V is equal to some constant C1. Integrating again, we will have V, since it is a function of x only, we will have V of x is equal to C1x plus C2, and that is our potential. And this is a potential for an electrostatic field in a space which does not contain any charge. Now in terms of work done, the potential is also written as W by Q, where here V will be the work done per unit charge to bring a charge from one point to another. And this work is the work done to assemble the system. This is also equal to the potential energy, which means nothing but the amount of energy which is stored in the configuration. Therefore, the potential energy which is given by U of a continuous charge distribution will be equal to half integration over the curve C lambda into V into dl. V is the potential, or it can be half integration over the surface S sigma into V into dA, or it can be half integration over the volume V lambda into V into d tau. Or this work done or potential energy also has the form epsilon naught by 2 integration over all space E squared d tau. So if symmetry is given, then we will use Gauss law. But if symmetry is not given, then it's best to find V and then find E, because this is an easy method for cases when symmetry is not given. Now we are going to look into boundary conditions. Boundary conditions for both electric field as well as potential. Consider an infinite plane sheet which is having surface charge density sigma. Now I am also going to consider a Gaussian pillbox of area A, and let's call this height as epsilon. Then according to Gauss law, we will have closed integration E bar dot dA bar will be equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon naught. Q enclosed will be here sigma into A divided by epsilon naught. Now if this sigma, that is charge density, varies from point to point, then electric field will also vary from point to point. So we will take the area so small that the charge density will not vary, it will remain constant, which in turn will mean that electric field is now constant. And I am also taking this epsilon height to be 0, such that the sides will contribute nothing to the flux. So the only contribution to flux will be due to the electric field, which comes out of this, above this area and goes below this area A, which passes through this area A. That is that component of electric field which will be parallel to dA, and we are having component of electric field which is perpendicular to dA. But we are also having that integration E bar dot dA bar is equal to integration E dA cos theta. Now here you can see that when E is perpendicular to dA, then we'll have cos 90, and this value will be then, this integration will be 0. But when E is parallel to dA, then we'll have cos theta 1, and then this integration will be equal to 1. Therefore, the only contribution here is because of that component of electric field which is parallel to dA. And the component of electric field is which is parallel to dA, I am calling it as E perpendicular. So that will be E perpendicular above and E perpendicular below. Now here they can be considered like this. This will be E perpendicular above and this will be E perpendicular below. Now I am drawing both in the same direction because I am considering that the upward direction is positive. Now put this value in here and we'll have E perpendicular above into area minus E perpendicular below into area is equal to sigma area divided by epsilon naught. A and A cancels out, and we'll have E perpendicular above minus E perpendicular below is equal to sigma upon epsilon naught. Now this negative sign comes here because E perpendicular below is in upward direction and the area for this region, for the bottom surface, is in downward direction. These both are in opposite direction, that's why we are having a negative sign here. This means that as we cross this surface charge, the perpendicular component of electric field is discontinuous by an amount sigma upon epsilon naught. Now let's look at the discontinuity which is provided by the parallel component of electric field. Or you can say the tangential component of electric field. Now here again I am having that same plane infinite sheet with charge density sigma. Now I am going to consider a rectangular loop of length L and height epsilon. Now this tangential component of electric field I am denoting by E parallel sign. Now let's use the equation line integral E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0. We know this because del cross E is equal to 0, and then applying Stokes theorem we get this integral. Now as epsilon tends to 0, there will be no contribution of electric field due to this sides. So we'll have only contribution due to the upside and the bottom side, that is E parallel. I am calling that E parallel. E parallel above into length L plus E parallel below into length L is equal to 0. Now here this is not plus, it is minus because I am taking this side as E parallel above, and here also I am having E parallel below. So for above, E and L are in the same direction, but below E and L are in opposite direction, so this sign will be negative. L and L out, and we'll have E parallel is equal, above is equal to E parallel below. The component of electric field, this indicates the component of electric field which is parallel to the surface. So we can see that the tangential component of electric field is continuous. Now therefore we saw two equations. One was E parallel above is equal to E parallel below, which is also E parallel above minus E parallel below is equal to 0. And the second one was E perpendicular above minus E perpendicular below is equal to sigma upon epsilon naught. Now this thing can be represented by del bar cross E bar is equal to 0, where you have to remember that cross will give us the parallel component. And we have also know del bar dot E bar is equal to rho upon epsilon naught. So the dot will give us information about the perpendicular component. Now let's look at potential. Now we just saw that E perpendicular above minus E perpendicular below is equal to sigma upon epsilon naught, and we know E is equal to minus del V, so we'll have minus del V above minus del V below is equal to sigma upon epsilon naught minus of minus del V, that will become plus. So we will have here del V above upon del N at the boundary minus del V below upon del N at the boundary is equal to minus sigma upon epsilon naught. We'll take this minus on this side. This is one equation for the potential. This can also be written as del V out upon del R at the boundary minus del V in upon del R at the boundary. This is boundary, B is boundary, or the surface is equal to minus sigma upon epsilon naught. And we are also having that V above is equal to V below. So these formulas which we just found for both the electric field as well as the potential, these are important when we have surface calculations. Let's say electric field will be given in the question and we have to find the charge at the surface, then we will have to use the boundary conditions. So these are quite handy equations. Here we have the relation between three fundamental quantities of electrostatics, Q or rho, E and V. If you want to find the potential using electric field, V equals to minus integration E bar dot dl. If you want to find the electric field using potential, E equals to minus del V. If you want to find the relation between Q and V, we can either use the Poisson's equation del squared V equals to minus rho upon epsilon naught, or potential V equals to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught R. And if we want to find the electric field using Q, then 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square into R hat. And if you want to find the Q, that is the charge using the electric field, then we can use del dot E equals to rho upon epsilon naught, that is the differential form of Gauss law. And from here we'll get Q will be equal to epsilon naught integration del bar dot E bar into d tau. So it is very important to remember all the formulas which we have seen up till now. We have a question here. If the electrostatic potential V of R theta phi in a charge free region, charge free regions means charge density rho will be 0 or Q will be 0, has the form V of R theta phi is equal to F of R into cos theta, we have to find what F of R will look like. So since charge density is 0, we can use here Laplace equation, which will be del squared V is equal to 0. What is del squared V in terms of R theta phi? And that will be 1 by R squared sin theta del by del R squared sin theta del V by del R plus del by del theta R sin theta upon R del V by del theta plus del by del phi R upon R sin theta del V upon del phi is equal to 0. This V does not contain any phi term, so this is equal to 0. We'll remove this entire last term and we'll have this is equal to 0. So this equation now becomes del by del R of R squared sin theta del V by del R will be F dash of R cos theta plus del by del theta, R and R cancels out, we'll have sin theta into del V by del theta will be F of R d by d of sin theta, cos theta is minus sin theta. This will be minus and this will be sin theta and this is equal to 0. We'll have sin theta cos theta out, we'll have sin theta cos theta del by del R of R square F dash of R, that will be 2R F dash of R plus R squared F double dash of R minus sin squared theta and this will be F of R, that will be 2 sin theta cos theta is equal to 0. We'll have sin theta cos theta cos theta out. So our equations now become r square f double dash of r plus 2r f dash of r minus 2 f of r is equal to 0. This is our equation. You can look at this equation and immediately see that this is a Cauchy-Euler equation type. So to solve these types of equations, we have seen in the videos of mathematical physics, we will take r is equal to e raised to t. Therefore, solving this, we will get r square f double dash of r will be f double dash of r in minus f dash of r, and 2r f dash of r will be just 2f dash of r, and this will be minus 2f of r as it is equals to 0. So we'll have f double dash of r plus f dash of r minus 2f of r is equal to 0. This f double dash of r here is d square f of r by d t square. Okay, and here f double dash of r was d square f of r upon d r square. So solving this is a second order homogeneous differential equation. You'll have m square plus m minus 2 equals to 0. M is equal to minus 1 plus minus root of b square minus 4 2s are 8 ac divided by 2a, and then we'll get the value here 1 and 2. Therefore, f of r will be equal to c1 e raised to 1 and minus 2 e raised to t plus c2 e raised to minus 2t. But we have already seen that we substituted r as e raised to t. So we'll have c1 r plus c2 r raised to minus 2. So that will be c1 r plus c2 upon r square. This is our f of r in this equation when there are no charges. So this is our solution. That's it for this part. In the next part, we'll begin with conductors. Peace be upon you.